Well, let's call a meeting of the July EMS meeting to order. And the very first thing we want to do is call the roll. Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Stubblefield.
Here.
Commissioner Spain.
Here.
Commissioner Moore. No response. Commissioner Eden, I'm here. That for the record. So the first thing we need to do is get the minutes accept the minutes from our last meeting, which, by the way, was not June, it was May. So I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes. If you hadn't had time to read them, take all the time you need.
Right now. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Wilson. I hear a second.
Second. Third.
Did you get it, Tina? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. So let's move right into our reports as we usually do. We'll start with EMA and Chance.
Yes, sir. So
Chance, come out here where the world can see you.
Yeah, sure. I'll stay in this chair for the meeting. So for the month of May and June, we ran 10 motor vehicle accidents. We had 5 commercial vehicle crashes. We had 2 structure fires, 1 illegal burn. We had a swift water rescue up on the Red River, and we had 1 search and rescue out in Orlando. As far as our training and activities, we had our monthly 911 board meeting, county building inspections. What we done there was the guy with the insurance pool, he came and done some inspections, sort of like what OSHA would do, but they just wanted to make sure everything was in compliance. So if they were not, they could be in compliance before OSHA came and done the inspections. So that really did help us out there. Operation Gray Wolf, that was a hazmat training exercise that myself and the deputy director attended. Really good training. We needed it also for a part of our hazardous materials training that we have as a technician and a specialist. Workforce Essentials met with us. You know, we handle the safety aspect of the county as well. So they met with us as far as when it comes to the drug testing for county employees, kind of how to go about it and the channel and the way they want it done. And then we had our special operations team members. We sent some of those down to Swiftwater Rescue last weekend. They went to Swiftwater 1, which helps out our team as far as we have more members now that are Swiftwater certified. That's what we've done from May 9th to June 9th.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Holmes?
Did y'all have anything to do with the looking for the little?
Yes, ma'am. That was our search and rescue call.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. We did. We had our team members there. We had our drone pilot and drone in the air, and we worked hand in hand with law enforcement and Orlando Fire Department Chief Dusty Johnson. So we worked with them, and we were there for that for about 4 hours. It was probably not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before last is when it was. We had our ATVs up there, and we searched, and they ended up finding the girl about, I want to say 3 or 4 miles from her home up on Highway 49 in Kentucky. Kentucky State Police ended up picking her up. She was considered a runaway juvenile.
Oh, so she was just walking.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Y'all might have. Mayor?
Yeah,
Any questions? Yes, sir.
y'all done on water rescue
Yes, sir, we did.
down there down?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Amanda she responded to it, but yes, sir, up on the Red River. They had 3.
Was this a canoe bunch of canoers?
No, sir.
Businesses put in?
No, sir. No, they were on their own. Is that correct, Amanda?
Yeah,
had
they were on
floats?
little floaties, 2 of which couldn't swim and one was pregnant. They got hung up on a log. Paddle boarders come through, moved them over to the shoreline, and then pulled them from the side of the river back over to the other.
The reason I asked, sometimes they're putting people out there late in the afternoon.
Yes,
Yes, sir, they are.
They're coming up,
yes, sir.
and then they expect us to go pick them up.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
And I feel like these people are putting, they want this man doing it for money,
Mhm.
and then they want us to pick up, damage.
Right.
It's not, I'm beginning to think we ought to think about charging. It's happening more and more and more.
Mhm.
They're just, as long as they can get a dollar, they'll put them out there at any time of the day. Sometimes it gets dark on them, and then they call Chance and go get them.
Was
Well,
this,
the paddle boarders, by the time which they were on their own also, it was gonna be well after dark before they got where they were going.
Right, and maybe,
because they were floating down the river to a destination?
Yeah,
Yes.
especially depending on what time you put in and where you put out, because some of that
Oh.
place is 8 hour
this
play.
may be something I need to look at. There ought to be a time limit, after a certain time of day, they can't put them out on the water. As long as they get a canoe fee, they stick them out there all
I'd
day.
say that might be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, even the volunteer fire departments complaining to me about it. They get calls out at 9 o'clock at night because somebody got put on river too late. Or they stopped and started at a bar or something.
And they didn't get to where they was going.
Didn't get it.
How could we, would we make
Probably
a,
need
make
to
a,
work with,
TWRA.
yeah,
The waterways, there's shore
that
lines.
ain't even mentioning the trash, you probably leave out there.
okay, well, Mayor, how can we put some action to that and go to the next step from right here? Chance need to take the ball and run with it?
No,
or
Chance, see what I need to do.
Yes, sir.
You'll see what you need to do, okay.
And we can work with TWRA on it as well,
Well, it's just,
just see.
I think you get a hold of Caleb Stratton, and he can tell you the steps that you might,
Right.
could,
y'all need more accountability,
Yes,
but people take some money to do it.
When they drop them and pick them up at a different location,
right.
is that all in Robertson County?
Yes, ma'am. Sometimes Montgomery County, sometimes they'll go into Montgomery County, but yes, ma'am, where they're putting them in at and taking them out at is in Robertson County.
we've had drownings out there. We had a drowning several years ago. The guy was
Yeah.
just intoxicated and he fell out and
10 o'clock in
drowned.
the morning.
Yeah, he was, and this was a young, healthy guy, but he
Our
drowned.
resolution wouldn't do anything for that.
No, but he was put in the water by people that you got to pay for a boat.
Drunk before he got put in the water.
Okay, well, anything we need to do to follow up on that,
I
we
just
will.
want to ask.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to accept this EMA report. We'll do it separate.
I'm like,
Thank you, Frank. Second.
I'll say.
Thank you, Randy. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Since there's none, this motion is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Russell, let's go right into your report.
All right. We've got the May 2020 report here. Y'all have seen it. I'll just explain it. We did 821 calls in May, so our numbers have started to climb again after a shock from the COVID-19 situation. Eventually, we'll bill at least 530 of those. And if you see the month before, we were at 650, so we jumped up a couple hundred calls there. Our interfacility transfers have also came back. We're at 84, which is, we're at 58, not 84. I'm sorry. We were at 84 last year. That's what we should be at, but we're around 58. So they're starting to come back up. I don't know why I order those like that, but I do. Year to date, we're about 100 and so calls less than we were 2019. But our numbers are starting to, like I said, to increase again. People are having more accidents, taking more drugs. Josh and I were talking the other day. How many we had? How many overdoses just in the last
7 deaths, 33 overdoses.
doses in our county?
How many deaths? From drug abuse or overdose?
In what time period?
End of March, I believe.
Really? Is there a law that says it's okay to bring someone that's overdosed to the EMS and leave them?
Well, I don't think you should leave them for sure, but people do it. We've had that
I mean,
happen.
they just drop them off?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We've had that happen many times.
They
and take off.
Why-
Well, I hope they don't
why-
get there when there's no one answering.
They would,
the door.
well, they would do it to avoid law enforcement, because they know they're
So
going
if
to
they
be
go
charged.
to the emergency room, they know that,
Same thing, it's like,
Yeah, they do the same.
they'll do the same thing with like a shooting. Northcrest gets stabbings and shootings all the time, dropped off at the front door, and the people just take off and leave. Because they don't want to be, interrogated by the police, or they got something to hide or whatever, or they just don't want to be associated with it, but it happens
I must be the most naive member of this committee.
time to time. It,
That's happened for years.
yeah, and and he's talking about those Narcan, just to give you, we always talk about the cost of things, those over 100 doses of Narcan, that cost us about $4,000 just for Narcan. That's not counting IV supplies, fuel, or anything else, just $4,000 just in that one single little box of medication.
And those are probably the people that don't have any insurance at all.
More than likely, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am,
Biggest percentage of them.
Yeah.
more than likely, but we,
Through a ministry in my church, or through a lady that's involved in the ministry, I was invited to Gallatin to a Narcan seminar to teach me how to use Narcan if I had happened to come up on the scene. And I heard that they give me a can when I leave. I didn't get a
a lot of
chance to
times
go.
they
I
have
thought
some
about it.
that they give law enforcement or bystanders, things like that. It's a lot different than what we did usually, but if I was to buy that kind, it would cost a significant amount more, but, I think that's how a sheriff's office and law enforcement had acquired theirs. They got it through a grant or something like that. But,
That might have been-
unfortunately, it doesn't work for us.
Mr. Chairman, I learned that the last 911, the insurance companies like Bar Durham, you call Russell and Daily, want names of people that's been in car accidents. I'm gonna talk to Dr. Kumar, Kerry Roberts about that. Feel like that.
Can you-
That shouldn't happen.
How do you?
Well, they called a request record is what it is, on somebody they're representing. So if patient, if Joe has a car wreck,
I understand, but legally, for the open transparency of open records, you're
well, no,
obligated to give it
these
to them?
people they already have a client. They're already representing somebody.
Sure.
That person has signed a release,
So that they can
and-
go find
and
them.
then they request the records because they're going after somebody. Whoever, if they were in a car wreck or they fell down or whatever, they already have taken that person on as a client.
And they want to know what
And they want to know what
the records say.
That, or they'll ask Tina for a statement, how much the bill is or whatever, so, because they're trying to recover money for somebody. Or
They're calling the E911 dispatchers and asking those questions too. We talked about that.
They get asked those questions.
they'll ask for records or recordings of different calls, what kind of,
And
different.
your logic, Mayor, is that we might need a state statute that would
Well, I
keep
just
them from
don't
doing it.
think it's our job to do their job. But
I
I
agree.
think there would be a privacy issue.
I think it's.
At this point, they've
Even though they haven't
signed
paid
a,
the lawyer,
yeah.
the lawyer,
Yeah, they have to provide a letter that says that they've, and it's usually notarized and
Is it-
everything, but yeah, it's.
Is it material? Is it a significant amount of work or time they do that?
No, Tina has to give them information sometimes, or Carrie has to give them
One or two a
information, or
week?
how many do we have a week? 3 or 4?
A lot of them send them through the mail.
And you get it and open it
Usually
up,
home.
and sometimes you can make them a copy and send it back.
Yeah, and I think we need to charge.
Yeah, we could eventually, charge a fee for copies if we
We
wanted
used to, but since they
It's not
send the
much.
billing out, it's very hard to,
I don't know if they charge a fee for it or not.
I don't.
I
don't
think
know
we
whether
can-
or not.
we can-
Since we send our billing out.
Right. We used to charge for them
Yeah.
when we did it, but since it is with the private place.
We could still charge if we
We
wanted
can
to.
fill,
I think we just
we
gotta
can do
do
a
it.
document.
We'd have
Yeah,
to make up an
couldn't we?
invoice
I
of
mean,
our own.
The private company that does it for us shouldn't keep us from sending out a bill.
no,
Now, they might want their
Yeah.
commission on it, or,
right,
No.
but no, they can't keep us from that.
I'd say we should recover everything we can.
But really, that's all on that page, unless y'all have any questions. We'll go to the fleet report.
So real quick,
Yes.
that 200, or that 100, the difference in the billable transports. Let me get my thoughts back. where it went from 530, is that 530 from 821?
No, we did 821 total
And we
calls,
billed
but we're only
530.
gonna bill about 530, yeah. Because the other are, they could
Right.
be
The month before,
non-transports.
we built 651.
Well, we did 651 in total, but we billed less than that.
Last month.
Yeah, last month in,
Okay.
April.
Now,
April
now
was,
it's coming back.
the numbers are starting to pick up again.
And that difference is the quarantine, the
Yeah, exactly.
coronavirus lockdown.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. The fleet report is kind of unremarkable, really, in May. I will tell you that in June, we will make up for it. We've had quite a bit of maintenance in June, but that'll be reflected on the next report. May, we did $2,176. In June, we'll probably be around 13,000. We had a lot of mechanical failures.
Got hot.
It got hot really quick. We had some things that gave out on us, but some of it was warranty and some of it wasn't. That's all I've got.
Questions? Comments? Okay, Rick?
All right. So for the month of May, our charges were $366,413.90 on 466 billable encounters. And again, to Russell's point of the 530, a lot of times it's timing. If it was, if we finish the month over a weekend or something, then they'll be reflected in the next month. So it's kind of a floating number month to month, and they don't usually add specifically back to match each other. Our per call average charge was $786.30, down from $813.35 last year. Collections were at $168,146.91, as opposed to last year at $191,072. So we were down $28,925.87 for the month from last year. Year-to-date collections at $2,176,318.60. Up from $2,074,799, which is $101,519 increase. Expenses last for May were $488,666.62, down from $504,533.04 in 2019. Year-to-date expenses $5,083,000 compared to $4,553,000 last year. And our expense per call went up this year to $1,048 per call, up from $936 last year. And again, with set costs and fixed costs, it's just a matter of decreased number of runs, which increase the average per run cost. So, again, you start to see some of the COVID impact on the numbers for May, based on what we saw in April, as far as run volume. And Russell's point, it is creeping back upward, but as you know, we run 45 to 55 days behind in recognizing the cash once we build the chart, or build the run. So, kind of really not surprising where the May numbers showed up or ended up as a result of the decreased volumes. Questions about that?
The way we've got it laid out, Rick, you can see the significant difference between 2018 and back and 2019 and 20 on the expense side, expense per call, and in the total year to date.
Mm-hmm.
And 2019 was long before the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
Comment on that.
Well, back during that time is when we added our third truck in Springfield.
Okay.
So we've added, expense to the personnel side. We put another truck in service running three trucks out of Springfield. So again, we've added the crew members to take care of the truck or to be staffed on the truck, which includes not only their regular hours, but their full-time hours. I mean, their overtime hours that are built into the way we structure our pay. And with that comes everything, associated with it, retirement, everything else that goes along.
We also have 200 and some odd thousand dollars worth of grant money in this year's budget.
We did.
That would have washed out with it. That expense would have washed out with it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, go back to the third truck in Springfield, Russell, to you. So in practical terms, that one truck, we added 2 employees? 4 employees? Yeah.
We had 4 employees.
Working
An
around the clock.
ambulance, yeah. I think the cost of it was $300 and something thousand. I think it was on one of those reports I was reading. And then we've had, purchased ambulances, capital assets, things like that.
We do that every year.
But they've gotten more expensive though. We spent a lot more money on
Because they've gone up, or we buying?
quality.
We
We're buying better quality ambulances. But adding those employees and adding those hours, because we added, and the balance of those employees were paramedics also.
If it's $300,000 or $400,000, that's what it is.
Yeah, they weren't EMTs, they were paramedics, so it's more expensive employee.
So I think primarily, that's probably the biggest impact on it. I'm sure there's incidentals, others. I know our workers' comp has fluctuated and gone up, and it's cost us an exorbitant amount of money for that.
It's little, but we took on the cost of Ridgetop. We built that station out there.
That was about the same time in maintaining that station as opposed to
it's about the same time that it got finished.
Embedded into the the fire department there. So with that,
yeah.
Sure. If you look at it line by line, I mean, you can go through and you can see the cost increasing, and track it back exactly to the line items like we're talking.
Yeah, the general answer is what I'm wanting.
Yeah, I mean.
Any other comments? Questions?
So at the request of the budget committee that you guys relayed to us as far as the look back and the comparison that they want us to do.
Let me comment on that.
Yes, sir.
Actually, we decided to do that in May. And I think the budget committee took a page out of our book, which is fine, because it's
true. We did.
And I think what's happened to everybody that's what happened to all of us is what $5 million will do to you.
Sure. Absolutely.
We got 1 month left, and we're at $5 million right now. Right?
Yes, sir.
Because this is through June. The report's through June, but the May is through the May.
Through May, so we're through 11 budget periods.
So the plan was to try to come up with a comprehensive plan to compare ourselves with other counties in Tennessee, or I guess anywhere else we could find somebody that's not Davidson County or Shelby County or Knox County.
Right.
And see how our operation stacks up against someone else that's demographically and geographically kind of like we are, population-wise, all kind of other things. Right. And start that process. Now, I know we have started the process, so you take it from there.
So we have. First, what we did is we took the list, and I can't remember the gentleman's name that came up. What was this? Yeah, Mr. Wade came up with the list of counties and documents and all that. What we did is we came together as a group and formulated about 20 questions that we want to ask every county that we talk to. And a lot of it is from the number of billable runs you have every year to your collections to how many trucks you have in service during the day, night, how many full-time employees you have, just basically down the list. Are you embedded with the fire department or do you have independent stations? Because that obviously from a comparison standpoint makes a big difference and it impacts the cost in a big way. What else?
Level of service they're providing.
Yeah, do you do discharges from the hospital, transports, different things. So it's a pretty comprehensive list of data points that we're collecting. So we formulated that, and then Russell and Tina, and I think even Josh has started calling the counties to get that data. We've gotten probably 6 right now, counties that have responded, and they've been very transparent with us. So we're still in the data collection period. We haven't started the true analysis part of it yet. Just at a kind of a sneak peek looking through it, I mean, there are other ways to do things. Obviously, we talked about it in our last committee meeting about the staffing matrix, how we staff our trucks. There are other counties that do things a little bit differently. So I think that'll give us a good look at how it impacts, obviously, from a dollar standpoint. And then from there, compare it to what we do and see, is there an opportunity there for us to make any changes or amendments to do anything that'll help us on cost side.
Right.
So that's a big piece, because obviously personnel, and that's, for us, is a huge expense, as it is with most all services. But the way that they do things, I think in some situations we are comparing it currently apples and oranges a little bit. So we're trying to dive down and to see, if we collected $2 million and they collected $4 million, and we're pretty close to the same demographic.
Like Putnam County.
Like Putnam County. Well, but if you look at Putnam County, and this is just kind of off the top of my head, and Russell can chime in anytime, they do almost more than double the runs that we do.
They double their transports. They have twice the transports
So
we have.
from a revenue opportunity standpoint,
So they should bill twice. They should bring in twice what we make, because they run twice as many transports as we make.
So,
Okay, stop. I wonder why they have so many more when they're a little bit bigger than us. Now, they do have a college, and they do have a central county seat, and they don't have 11 municipals like we do.
So that's where, I'm just throwing it out, is we've got the data. We haven't truly dug in to analyze it yet. But the questions you're asking are things that are going to be really helpful for us to try to formulate an inference of why are we different.
Why? Right.
So I think it's a really healthy exercise for us.
Yes,
And,
it's overdue.
From a county standpoint, if, being a taxpayer myself, if there's a way that we can shave cost, absolutely, I think we need to. If there's a way we can enhance revenue, absolutely. So whichever side of the coin that, opportunity exists, then we need to take a look at that. But I am encouraged that, these counties are being transparent with us, are giving us good data, and we're going to be able to really have a nice report to present back to you guys in a few months to be able to.
Well, I would just say, Rick, if we don't get a few responses that we really need, I would encourage you to do what's necessary to make a contact. I'll be happy to get involved in that.
Yeah.
And get on the phone or make a trip. To get information back from these folks that are probably busy.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that, and we'll definitely take you up on that if that becomes necessary. I think right now, people are being pretty responsive. Again, it's just an added thing they have to do to help a neighboring or another Tennessee county. So I think that they will, and we'll continue to, if we don't hear responses from them. But I think we haven't
had anyone that wasn't willing to help us yet.
Yeah.
We're waiting to hear back from a few people, but we received.
Do we do it? We send them an email?
We called them. Tina called them on the phone, and then
Talked to 'em.
followed up with them an
And then send
email.
them an email.
They gave us, yes. We
Good.
got emails,
Good.
talked to them, they said they'd be glad to do it, we just haven't gotten them all back.
You talk directly to the EMS department. You did.
Yes. Several times, it was actually the director, so.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All of that.
That's correct.
All of that is public record.
Well, you don't get that granular usually with the data. The data that Mr. Wade provided was pretty high level, it was.
Oh, yeah, everything coming off the website.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is get real granular with it so we can see, okay, I understand that's the number and that's the number reported, but how do we get to that?
What would make, what
You know,
would-
is it, if they're running the same, demographics, same population and everything else, and, our cost is so much higher on a certain line item, So when I get the data compiled in a nice little, I guess, package to look at,
Right.
then at that point, there would be probably some follow-up calls to these guys to say, we were noticing this, and, right now our numbers are this. How do you guys how do you do that? Or what are you doing there? Because I think that, comparing is one thing, but understanding what you're getting through the comparison is something else. So I think that's kind of the next step once we start getting to analyze it and then make those calls again to say, okay, specifically now, I thank you for the response, but I have a question about this.
The total revenue, because historically audited numbers are totals put together and you get a total.
Right. And, when you're talking about an average collection per run, I mean, some counties report tax revenue and their revenue, it comes directly from property tax.
Sure.
Instead of just from patient revenue. So when you get that revenue number, is it comprised just of patient revenue or has it got some property tax in there with it? That's what we try to get to the bottom of.
Right. If
it looks like an abnormal number, I guess I would say. Something if they're doing way better than we are in collections, then I want to call and find out exactly, is that a true just patient revenue, or is that something else? Is it some other funnel, or do you have a contract with some, facility that adds whatever that is?
See, the reason we know that, Rick, if you analyze Robertson County Solid Waste Department, in their revenue, there's almost $1 million worth of property taxes that's included in revenue.
Right.
That goes it was set up to go for a certain side of it that it had, and that's a whole other situation. We've come a long way since that was set up, but anyway, it's in the revenue.
Right. Well, so, I wanted to kind of give an update of where we have started that, and we, are painstakingly, we're going to go
Great.
through it. And
Any questions or comments or suggestions?
Happy to.
This is trivial, but are you looking at the employees and how many we have as paramedics or EMTs and how many the other counties have?
We've asked how many paramedics they have, how many critical care paramedics they have, how many 24-hour ambulances.
Yeah, it does because, from a critical care paramedic versus a paramedic, I mean, you talk about level of service, and Michelle can speak to, or Josh can speak to this directly. I mean, it gives a level of service that our service provides that we feel like is a standard. That's where we want to be. Not all counties share that. We put a lot of people through paramedic training. Critical care training, because we feel like we do a lot more ventilator transports and things that we have a high level of ability among our paramedics. And, there are services out there that just get them to the hospital. So, our protocols, obviously we won Service of the Year last year in our protocols, which are higher level protocols. Well, that means improved care for Robertson County citizens. That's not just a ride to the hospital.
Right.
So, looking at all these things, yes, we have to compare the numbers, but you're right. That does figure in as far as, okay, what service are they providing versus what are we providing? And we'll never be able to get the billable amounts like their ALS runs, how many critical care runs that they're billing and things like that. So we're just going to have to go on averages. But again, it still gives us good data, and I think it'll be very helpful.
Appreciate y'all doing that. I know it's extra on your normal day work.
I think that it is, but at the same time, we're an accountable organization, and we're public service, and that's part of being accountable. So
Absolutely.
It's a good exercise, and we'll go through it. And if there's something we can glean and learn from it, that's what we'll do. And
And we all need and want to know.
Yeah.
How our operation stacks up across the board, and we know the history of our organization, so we can very easily put two and two together.
Well, and I'll just tell you, Russell and I are confident with what we're seeing. But at the same time, I'm sure we've also seen how some places do 12-hour shifts. How does that work? With the number of employees you need to staff that, and what does that look like overtime wise?
Which might mean some more employees, but less overtime, right?
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe. So where's the trade-off there? Because obviously pay at one place or you can pay at the other, but, again, no inferences yet. We'll just, let us get all the data and then we'll have a nice report for you guys.
and then B part of that is you're gonna get me a couple of names of
True.
contractor services.
And we've already, I think Russell emailed Dwight with the state to see if he can get a couple of names of
Sure.
contract services around that are similar.
Sure.
You know, we don't want to, like Knox County or something like that. that
There
is-
are very few in Middle
Contract now.
Tennessee
Yeah,
that
very,
are,
very few.
there's really nobody that's doing 911 that, there was one city, Spring Hill, had been using, they'd had several private services, and finally they went back to Williamson County. And then there was one other, what was the name of it?
Unicoy.
Unicoy
The
or
lady
somebody
was
like
telling me
that.
about
East Tennessee.
Unicoy,
Isn't it
what
East
problem they
Tennessee?
had.
Yeah, and then there was another area that it had a,
Hawkins or Haywood or.
Hopkins is the one
I can't
that
remember.
actually
Was it
has-
Humphreys County? Somebody had one and they left them in the middle of the night. That's what,
That was what they told me, Unicoy.
that's, Greene County told me that.
We'll get you
Sure.
we'll get you something. And also, am I wrong to say, or right, that Logan County in Kentucky is,
Logan County, yeah, they're kind of unique. It, as, look, their ambulance going on the road, it says Logan County on the side. And I think-
Medcom.
Yeah, somebody else runs it.
Medcom.
ComCare?
It's changed multiple times, yeah, so.
Where are they based?
Owensboro, last I did,
Owensboro.
was based out of Owensboro.
Okay.
Last time I saw them, they were borrowing some oxygen from us because they ran out going down the road.
Exactly. I remember that. Yeah. With the patient in the
They call a
truck.
lot because their ambulance broke down on the side of the interstate.
Provide us with a lot of transfers national.
They were on
Well,
the way to
what
Nashville.
they do is they
Regional,
come
just
across
had
the
to
line
break
and dump them at
down
North
on the
Pines.
side of the
Yeah.
interstate.
And then
There's
we
when I
pick
see
them up
one,
and
I'm
take
like,
them.
well, there's a transfer.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Sure.
we'll get you a couple of names.
Let's keep progressing and you keep us updated. And
Every
if-
month, we'll give you an
If
update.
any committee member has an idea or comment or request or question, don't keep it to yourself because we're gonna plow pretty deep here.
And I would say don't wait till the committee meeting as well. Just
Absolutely.
email us or come call us, say, hey, I was thinking about this, what do you think about that? And let us kind of go down that rabbit hole if it's something that, we do need to know that we're not looking for. 4 heads are better than 2, 3, or 4. Let us know.
Okay, anything else, Rick?
No, not everything else. I think, I think that's
Okay.
the bulk of it.
So then we'll entertain a motion if there are no more questions to get this report into the record. Thank you, Commissioner Stubblefield. I hear a second.
Second.
Commissioner Spain, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those not in favor signify by saying aye. There are no ayes, so the motion carries unanimously. Anything else we need to bring up before we adjourn?
We did sell an old ambulance for surplus this week. We got $12,300 out of it. So I felt like that was really good. That's about $2,300 more than the one I sold last year.
Great.
I was glad to see it go.
So in our budget this year, we don't have one at all?
No, sir.
Right.
We were, if the CARES Act money comes through,
And you get it.
then I think we.
That has been approved now, and they took all the strings off that money, so.
Yeah, they did.
We're getting $1.3 million governor's grant. It's supposed to be to us within 30 days, and there are no strings attached to that money.
With no strings, then we get it. We divide it up as we
That's right.
think it's
So
necessary.
I think basically pretty well done deciding what you're gonna do.
Right.
Uh,
What was that? Was that same figure that the budget committee was talking about?
Yeah,
1.3?
yeah, our part of it, Sea Sprinklers get like 250,000.
Our portion went up though, about 260 from what we approved.
Yeah, it originally was $1,050,000.
That's exactly right, I remember that.
We could have paid. It's nice to consider what they did.
Well, it's still taxpayers' money. And it's our taxpayers' money. It's just 6 million of us putting it in instead of 70,000 putting it in.
They took a little bit more away from Nashville and Memphis and gave it to the other. Probably went up.
Really?
$61,000.
Great, that's great news. Great news. We just have to remember it's non-reoccurring.
You'll enjoy it while it lasts.
They just enjoy it, which is good. Anything else? If not, then I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn. Thank you, Randy. Second? All those in favor signify by standing up.
Did somebody give a second?
Randy.
Pick one.
Yeah, pick some.
Frankie.
Frank.
That's because he's sitting next to you.
Something going on over there.